It is Friday the 8th. Yes, Friday the 8th of April. So a few hours ago, the one before uploaded. What was it again? Oh yeah, the Paul. No, not the Paul John. Oh, the Hudson Baby Bourbon, obviously, because I had a little message to share. So thank you for the messages from the people that have seen it already, and much appreciated. And yes, I will need all the help I can get. Thank you very much. So we'll carry on, and once we get further down the line, I'll have to deal with whatever turns up. Carrying on with donations that I received over the last few weeks. Now, one of the stands at the Newcastle Whisky Festival was the guys at Lakes Distillery. So, the Lakes Distillery is a relatively new distillery that was, they went on stream in 2014, and the distillery is here. It's next to a place called Bassenthwaite Lake, which is a very kind of Lake District-y type sounding town, village area. And it's actually a converted Victorian farmhouse from the 1850s. 1850s? Yeah. That they've converted into a distillery. Now, the guy that set this distillery up is a guy called Paul Curry, and this is what he looks like. Now, him and his father Harold actually set up the Arran distillery. Now, Harold sadly passed away about 2 weeks ago. He was about 91, 92 when he passed away. Now, Harold Curry's got a fantastic history, and I've only just kind of glimpsed some of it, where like apparently he gave Sir Alex Ferguson one of his first managerial jobs and things like that. So I've not delved into it, and I'm not going to go on about it now, but Harold Curry, if you want to Google his name, it sounds like he's got a fantastic personal history. But his son Paul, after setting up Arran and basically getting that going and making it the success that it is now, set up the Lakes Distillery. So they went on stream in 2014, so we're looking at probably next year when their first single malt will be released. But in 2013, they were quite clever stroke a little bit sneaky in terms of new distilleries. As I've talked about before, it's very difficult for a new distillery to make money straight away, because to have a single malt whiskey, you've got to wait 3 years once you've started distilling before you can even sell a single malt whiskey. So a lot of distilleries, a lot of these new... Oi, you bloody dog, what are you trying to do? Pushing chairs around. To you too. Yeah, a lot of distilleries are being quite smart in finding ways of making money while they're sitting on the stock that's maturing in cask before they can sell their first single malt. So it's new make, and it's vodkas and gins and any other thing that you can distill and not have to wait for a few years. Or there's another one. I think Annandale is another one where they've got a blended whiskey, and they're basically selling it from their distillery, but it's not got any of their whiskey in. And this one, which is the one that's called the one, is a blended whiskey that they've called the One British. And what they've done, so this was released before the distillery even went on stream. Okay, fair enough. And what they've done is they've taken whiskies from every part of the British Isles. So there is a whiskey from Scotland, there's a whiskey from England, there's a whiskey from Wales, Penderyn presumably, there's a whiskey from Northern Ireland, and also the Republic of Ireland, because I can never get it the right way around, but Great Britain includes the Republic of Ireland, but the United Kingdom doesn't, or I thought it was the other way around, because Northern Ireland is part of the UK. I thought Northern Ireland was part of Great Britain and the Republic of Ireland was part of the United Kingdom. I'm probably going to get some people from the Republic of Ireland that are going to blow their stack with me saying that and go absolutely ape and start sending me comments, because, look, I don't know, okay? I apologise in advance, I can't remember. They're calling themselves the British, and apparently this has got whiskey from Republic of Ireland in as well. So if that is wrong, that's them, not me. I don't know. So it's basically a way of them being able to sell a whiskey under their kind of label and under their banner, because it comes with a nice little thing about them and what they've done that kind of gives you the impression that it's from that distillery, even though technically it's not, or not yet anyway. Because I'm guessing that the English whiskey is probably from the English Whisky Company, because that was one of, if not the first one to start. The Welsh has got to be Penderyn. The Scotch, alright, that could be bloody anything. The Northern Ireland, I'm trying to think what distilleries in Northern Ireland. There's only two at the moment in there, so you can narrow some of them down. I can't even open the damn thing, so that's not a good start anyway. So it's 40%, and this was, I wish I could remember the guy's name. Somebody Michael, like Meikle was his surname. Sorry, I can't remember what your name was, and you gave me a business card and it's upstairs in the office, so I'm going to have to use the teeth. Oh no. God, Jesus. Ow. There we go. Right, we're in there. Sorry, that was a bit noisy as well. So, I'd be very interested to see what this is like. I'd be very interested to see what the actual single malt's like, but we're probably looking at next year by the time that's released, unfortunately. Although my good friend Maltman Mike, who lives in Cumbria, so he's not that far away, did put a post today, in fact, about the fact that they've got a founders members clubs, and a lot of these whiskey companies now do. Kingsbarns were doing the same, where it's you can join a members club and then you get one of the first bottlings, but you kind of pay a joining fee and things like that because you're part of this club. So it gets you a bit of exclusivity, but also gets them some income as well. And by the sounds of it, their first bottling is going to be 40%, and he was a little bit kind of like, would you not do like a cask strength or a 46 or something like that, just to kind of, oomph it up a little bit. So it'd be interesting to see what it's like, but strictly speaking, this isn't really a fair representation of the Lakes Distillery whiskey, because there's none of it in there. But we'll give it a go, because this is something that they are selling. Selling how much for? I really should do this research in advance, shouldn't I? But I won't. I never do, because I never think that far ahead. Which is why I've got a third kid on the way, because I didn't think that far ahead either. Let's give ourselves a quick play amongst yourselves for a while I'm just sorting this out. Let's just give, it would help if I could actually spell the damn thing as well with my fat fingers. The One Whisky. Let's see how much this is going for. Master of Malt. $29.95. It's not bad, actually. Not bad at all. So 25, 30 quid, something like that. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. So let's see what this is like. Quite light in colour, I noticed. And also what I don't know is what the percentage of grain to malt is, because it's a blended whiskey. It's not a blended malt. No, it says blended whiskey. If it was blended malt, I'm pretty certain it would say on the label. So it's a blended whiskey, so there'll be some grain in here that I can smell as well. Definitely there. So I would, already on the nose, I would say probably 50-50. Because there is a definite grain element in there, but what I don't know is where the grain's from, and whether all the single malts that are used in it are from all the areas, or whether they've used like Scotch grain along with single malts from other places, other countries. I didn't delve into, I couldn't see it obviously doing a quick search on the net, so I can't tell you that. Maybe somebody will know, maybe somebody from the Lakes even wants to put a comment on the comments box, obviously, in the on the YouTube. What, I've just lost all ability to speak. If somebody from the Lakes wants to put a comment in the comments box below on my YouTube channel to say, actually, this is what the percentage is, this is where the distilleries are from, anything like that, if they can give that information, that would be absolutely fantastic. I've been a bit hopeless on this one, I'm afraid. Sorry, baby brain. So yeah, definite graininess on there, but there's a nice lightness to it as well. A bit of grassiness, a little bit of menthol, not too much though. It's quite fresh, it's quite light. The fruit in there is light fruits, almost kind of like a grapiness to it as well. And cereals, but predominantly grain. I'd almost go maybe even 60% grain, 40% malt. It's the grainy grain vibe, dude. The grain vibe is more prevalent than the maltiness on it. Not necessarily a bad thing, to be perfectly honest. It's just that's kind of giving me that indication. Oh, now I don't know whether I've got a cut on my tongue, because it was really sharp and right on the edge of my tongue. Actually, To be honest, I was expecting it to be a little edgier on the palate, considering how much of the grain comes through on the nose. But there's a nice richness to it. There's a really good mouthfeel. It's quite light. It's quite delicate. There is a sharpness to it. There's a little bit of oakiness to it as well. There is quite a gentle smokiness as well. It's not obvious to start with. It's not like, oh, there's some Islay whiskey in there. But just in the kind of the second half of the palate, this really gentle smokiness comes in. Now there is a couple of tasting notes on there going slightly smoky, sweet and fruity, nutty with hints of spice. And it's slightly smoky, but I'd almost put those tasting notes the other way round, in that there is some spice there to start with, there is sweetness there, and the smokiness comes through kind of on the back end of it. But it's not massively smoky, it's not like heavy iodine, it's a gentle kind of bonfire-y smokiness that just supports everything. The sweetness is definitely there. I'm not sure I get the nutty element. Looking for it, now I'm looking for it, I haven't read that, maybe, but it's not obvious at the time. There is a gentle spiciness to it as well, slightly cloves and cinnamony, rather than like a soft nutmeg spice. But it's pretty pleasant, you know, it's not too bad for a blended whiskey at all. It's light, it's easy drinking, it's got a really nice mouthfeel to it. There's a really nice richness and thickness to it, which is very pleasant. The smokiness isn't overpowering, it supports everything, it's not obvious. This isn't going to offend somebody that doesn't like Islay whiskies, because the smokiness is very, very gentle and very subtle. But it's there, it gives it another dimension. All in all, it's not too shabby at all. But as I say, I don't know if I can take this as a representation of the Lakes Distillery, because I don't think there is any Lakes Distillery whiskey in there. So the challenge isn't going to be going, I hope not anyway, by the time their single malt comes out. But I'd be really intrigued to find out what it is, because Arran's a great whiskey, so there's good background to the capabilities of this distillery. And if this keeps them ticking along until they can release their single malt, fair play to them, can't argue with that at all. But not too shabby at all. Not gonna rock the world or anything like that, but as a decent, good quality blended whiskey, no issues with that whatsoever. Right, that's another one down. I'm going to rinse out and then do another one, and I shall see you in the next one. Cheers.